Donald Trump says he's given millions and millions of dollars to charity out of his own pocket.
Here's what I know. I know Donald Trump has donated over $100 million to charitable causes over the last number of years. $100 million.
And instead of being like, thank you very much, Mr. Trump, or Trump did a good job, everyone say, who got it, who got it, who got it? And you make me look very bad.
My name's Dave Farenthold. I'm a reporter for the Washington Post. Since May, I've been looking for evidence that Donald Trump really does give millions of dollars out of his own pocket to charity, as he says. And I've been using this notebook to sort of track my work and show people on Twitter what I've been doing. So that started out blank back in, I think, early June. And I've been going through, as I've called these charities and asked them, okay, when was the last time you got a donation personally from Donald Trump? And the most recent one I've found is actually here on page 3, number 76. The Police Athletic League of New York City says it got a donation of between $5,000 and $10,000 from Trump in 2009. That's the most recent charitable gift I found out of Donald Trump's own pocket before May of this year, and when he gave $1 million to a veterans group, having promised it during a fundraiser in Iowa. One of these groups, the Susan G. Komen Foundation, we called them to try to figure out why Trump had given, if he'd given his own money, and he hadn't. And then we wanted to find out why had he given a very sort of odd amount from the Trump Foundation. Why that amount? And the answer was that he had bought a Tim Tebow helmet for himself. He paid $12,000 for it, which is fine unless you pay for it out of your charity, which he did. That means he has to find a charitable use for the Tim Tebow helmet. He can't just hang it up on his wall. That's a violation of the law. We haven't found out what he did with it. That got us started on a chain of events that has led us to a number of other questions about whether Trump violated self-dealing laws. Those are rules basically that prohibit people who run a foundation from reaching into the foundation's money and buying things for themselves or buying things for their business. This one, 325. Children's Place at Home Safe. That's a $20,000 gift that Trump had given them a few years ago. We couldn't figure out why. And the answer was that Trump had used $20,000 from his charity, the Donald J. Trump Foundation, at a gala hosted by that group to buy a 6-foot-tall portrait of himself. And again, fine to do that. You could buy a 6-foot-tall portrait of yourself, but you got to use your own money. I searched through these sort of donor search databases that list all these charitable gifts, and I found some gifts from a guy named Donald Trump to cancer charities in the Buffalo, New York area. And I thought, and to American University, Pittsburgh University, some other places like that I didn't think Donald Trump had any connection to. When I called those places, I figured out that there's another Donald Trump, Dr. Donald L. Skip Trump, who's a cancer doctor now in Northern Virginia, but he'd worked in Pittsburgh and in Buffalo, and he's actually quite a generous person. Trump is very wealthy. And like a lot of other wealthy people, feel the responsibility to take some of the wealth they've been given and give back. But we haven't really found anything like that with Trump. There's no sort of abiding cause from year to year where he gives lots and lots of money and they name things after him. But what he's done is sort of actively seek out other people who will pay these obligations for him. He doesn't use his own money. He uses the Trump Foundation, and he fills the Trump Foundation with money from others so that he can basically appear philanthropic to the degree that he needs to without having to sacrifice any of his own money, which sort of goes against the basic spirit of charity, that charity is a way of giving of yourself to help others. Trump is giving of others to help himself. One of the big mysteries about the Trump Foundation had been, why does anybody else put money into it when Trump himself has not given any money since 2008? The last donation from Trump out of his own pocket was in 2008. Since then, other people have filled up this foundation that basically serves as kind of the private charity of Trump. So why would anybody take their philanthropic dollars and use it basically to prop up the private charity of a multi-millionaire, multi-billionaire? And so today we've solved at least part of the question, and the answer is that these are some of the donors. More than half of the money coming in since 2008 is from people who owed money to Trump or to his business, and then they were told to send it to the Trump Foundation instead of to Trump or his business. So this is income that was due to Trump personally, and he made sure it went to the foundation instead. Now that's legal, but under IRS rules, you have to pay taxes on it. If you earn the money and if you control where the money goes, even if it doesn't go to you, you have to pay income taxes on it. And so the question is, did Trump pay income taxes on those donations that other people gave his foundation in his direction? Of the $2.3 million we're talking about, we know that in $400,000 worth of it, that was a donation from Comedy Central in 2011. Trump's people said, yes, he paid income taxes on that. The rest of it is all from a guy named Richard Ebers, who's a ticket broker in New York City. Apparently bought things from Trump for his clients, tickets and other things. And the Trump's people haven't said whether he paid income tax on that. That's a lot of money, obviously. If he didn't pay income tax on it, it could mean a lot of back income tax for Trump to pay. Foundations are supposed to be independent charities with their own money, their own aims, their own identity. What we've learned so far was that the way Trump spends the money out of his foundation is very tightly intertwined with his businesses. He spends the money to sometimes to help settle legal disputes that involve his businesses. He sometimes uses it to buy paintings that hang on the walls of his golf courses, other things like that. So now we know about the money coming in, that the money coming in is also very closely tied to Trump's businesses. It's money that the businesses themselves would have gotten and paid taxes on that now goes to the Trump Foundation. So the IRS, if they choose to look at this, the New York Attorney General's office already is looking at this. This sort of extreme case of a problem in this area would be if somebody had a charity that they put their own income into, avoided taxes, and then took the money out of the charity and spent it on themselves. So in some extreme case, there could be a case where you could take a charity and use it to basically evade income taxes by treating it as sort of a pass-through that brings money back to you. We don't know that Trump did that in this case. There's a lot of investigation still to be done by the New York Attorney General. But that's the kind of question you have now. And the Trump folks have not been very forthcoming about how he treated this money.